All right, last objective of this module. I'm going to tell you that this is going to give you a little bit of a break. So instead of having to deal with like the complex diagrams and everything else, I just really want to bring in where you're going to see these applied. So we have something called a Alberta Survey Control Marker Sheet, so ASCM sheet. You may have in your field work have experienced the opportunity to use one of these before. If you have not, then that's okay. An ASCM, Alberta Survey Control Marker, is something that we use for really like georeferencing where we are. And you'll see them around. If you're in Calgary here, you're going to see that there's brass caps around all around. So they're just like these things in the sidewalk or things in the that you'll see in the grass off to the side. Sometimes they're dug under, and so you'd have or like put dirt over. So you might have to actually dig to find some of them. But a lot of them are just in the sidewalk. And so you're walking by and all of a sudden you see this like round brass cap that's sitting there. And it might say Alberta ASCM on it and with a number. So that is possible. So if you want to go for a walk and see if you can find any in your area, it might be something interesting for you. So here's an example of an ASCM sheet. So there's lots of information on here, as you can see. So at this point, we're really more concerned about, I'm more concerned about you being able to access them and being able to do some quick reading on them, okay? So I'm not looking for you to totally interpret every little thing like the prime vertical deflection and the meridian deflection and all of that. I'm not looking for you to be able to interpret everything. What I'm worried about is you being able to use this as an application in any situation. So, so here, let's start with going at the top here. So it tells us it's an ASCM information sheet. It was last updated in 1994. This is pretty normal. They've really kind of pushed this to the wayside of like maintenance of these. So don't be surprised if there is an old updated date on there. We get the latitude and longitude values. So if you're using a GPS, you can easily put it in there. And so those are important. We have vertical datums. And so we have our vertical datum and we have elevation values. So we'll be getting more into vertical datums. This has actually been updated. That we have a Canadian vertical datum, and we'll talk about that in the next module. But we have an elevation value, which is off of that particular datum. Okay, so most of them are ellipsoidal. There's also some information that is buried in here that is based off of the mean sea level, but that's what this is based on. We've got the date that you printed it. So I printed this off in May. And then we have the ASCM number. So this is how it is cataloged. It's in what we call SPIN, which is where you can get a lot of your plans and your titles and your ASCM sheets, your township plats. You can get your split line notes. You can get all of that there. So you can see that's in an Airdrie, and there's a map sheet that you can find it on, and that the marker condition is in good condition. So that's important. As of 1993, it was in good condition. So if you are pulling ASCM sheets, always check this condition, because if it says bad or anything else missing, it's not a very good ASCM sheet to pull, because it's not going to help you any. So this one, I use something called 3TM coordinates, just so you can get an idea of when you look at the numbers. We will be talking about scale factors and how to do calculations with those in the next module. So that will come. But so a lot of the stuff that you're seeing is actually a prelude into the next module. Here we have our northings and eastings values. So there's my Y value from the equator, and then my eastings value, which you'll find out soon about that. Their convergence value, which is based on true north, based because of the northings and eastings, right? So we just finished talking about that in the previous. So there's my convergence angle. So this is 51.96 and seconds. So this is my convergence angle at that point. Then we have our ellipsoidal factor and combined factor. We will get to those in the next module. The geoid, I'm going to completely skip that because you don't need to worry about that. And then we have coordinate history. So going through and checking when was the last horizontal done, the original project when that was done, and when was the last time it was checked. So 1994, it was checked in NAT 83. And so this is when it was published, so and double checked. So we can see in 2011 the vertical was checked. Now some revisions. In 2003 they added a map sheet name onto the sheet. So they're like, this is some more information that we gave you. So other things, there was an old ASCM number. So if you have to look up the old original ASCM, this is the number that they used. And then up here we have distances and angles to other tablets. Okay, so here's ASCMs and then the marking that's on them, so that they're marked up. What is the distance to them? And the reason they do that is because there has to be a ASCM within 800 meters at minimum. So they're saying, hey, look, there's one in 400 meters. If that one's being knocked out or like removed or whatever, destroyed, then we go to the next one. So look, we have all of these within 800 meters. So that's helpful for you when you're trying to set up a job, because you can check out the horizontal distance, find out which one is the closest one to this this marker, this monument, and then you can go and look those up and pull those in as well. It tells you the bearing, the grid bearing off the grid, so that's also important there. All right, so and in this case, it's not a quadrant bearing, so note that that's really important, because a quadrant bearing is only to the 90s. These ones are more like azimuths, but they're based off the grid, and that is from the grid north. So marker type, it tells you what you're looking for. So it says that it is a Alberta Survey Control cap on a 6 centimeter heavy wall steel pipe, 2.4 meters long with a helix base, and 1 foot west of MP. So MP, it says marker post. That's what it stands for. So if you're wondering what that shorthand is, that's what it means, marker post. Then going into the location. Now this can always get really interesting. So we talked a bit about like sloughs and coulees. There's knolls. There's all kinds of weird words that get thrown in. You may find them in this marker location information. So it's very possible. So if you don't know what it is, don't feel shy to either ask or look it up, see what you can find. So this marker location is located south of Airdrie, near the northeast corner of this section, on the east boundary of a north-south road allowance. Okay, so this is on the east. Remember that monuments, like the property monuments, are on the west. So they put this on the east, obviously, for a very specific reason. Then it is 277 feet south of center line of correction line. Okay. Yes. And then it's 32 feet east of the center line of a north-south RPAT. Now I can't remember. See, I would have to look that one up because I don't know what the RPAT stands for. So if you're curious, go check it out. So then it's 1 foot west of a north-south fence line, 39 feet from north of center line of gate in field on the east side of the road. Now, what this reminds me of is the whole idea of country instructions. So there's, if you Google it, it's like country road instructions video of some sort. I can't remember the exact search term, but it's like turn at the blue, like the blue fence post. Where you see the bird's nest, turn right. Make sure you go past the pasture with cows. This is almost as bad sometimes. So some of them are really interesting and really funny to read, because it's just like at the the stork's nest. So definitely like read this marker location. It's really important. And if you don't know what something stands for, see what you can find. So like RPAD, I'd have to look up. I have to double check what exactly that means. Once I'm out there, I could probably be like, oh yeah, that's what it means. Because like R usually stands for road, but I'm not quite sure what the PAD stands for. All right, down here it says marker conditions. Everything was noted to be in good condition. So even in 1993, it was in good condition. And then the coordinate history, it's been readjusted for NAD 83 in 1994. And then the elevation was revised in 2011. So good things to note with this. So that's just a few of the stuff that you will find on here. So as we move into the next not objective, but module, you're going to learn more about some of the terminology on here. So things that you need to note right now, you can download it in either UTM or 3TM, so there's that option. There is always a description of the location. There's always a description of the type of marker that it is, or like the monument. It always gives you distances to other markers and the geoid information for height. And we'll be discussing all the some of the geoid information, the really surface stuff. We're going to be scratching the surface on that. So I'm just going to end the show here, or not the show, but like the slideshow. And I'm going to open up the SpinTo. SpinTo. So II. So SpinToHost, this is where you can get all of your plans and titles and everything else. So I'm just going to go into guest login, because anybody can go in here. This is all public, so you can go in here and check it out. So there's a bunch of options up here. I'm going to go to search because I'm going to be searching something. And there are different ways to search. So for example, for township plans, I click in here in field notes. I could put in my township information, so it's meridian, range, and township. If I want to do field notes, I would switch to that as well. So I can do that, or if there's a book number that I know in particular. So that you do need to know those. So that's one place you can go to get your field notes, like the split line notes or the township plan. So this is all like historical data. You can search by street address. So if you needed to find something based on a street address, you can look that up, and it might actually give you a fair amount. So like house number, let's say 215, and then we can say Edge Hill, and street type is Drive. This is not my address, by the way, just in case you were curious. In Calgary, you cannot find me there. So here we are, we're at Edge Hill Drive. This is actually the location, and I pulled that up because I know where this one is. I've done work there. So now I know exactly where I am. I know based on the street address, and I can find all kinds of information in here. So I can use a Polygon select. So I can zoom out a little bit too if I want. So let's zoom out. There, a little bit zoomed out. And then I can go to Polygon select. I'm just going to let it load. And so I have a little pen here now. So now I can draw a little thing around here, this area. Might want to get down to the bottom of the hill. Might be important to get that. And then I double click to create that polygon. And now I can search for different things. So I can search for titles, I can search for plans, and I can search for ASCMs. So if I was interested in ASCMs, I could click on ASCM, and it gives me all of the ASCM sheets. So I can click on the view, and it gives me the ASCM information right there. So I can download it right away and print it, and then it's mine. So there's all those. There's condition as well, so you can check that. So that's important. And then if you wanted to download, You can go there and say add to cart and let it think, and then go to shopping cart, and it's here. So one thing to note with the ASCM is that you can change between two different coordinate systems when you go to download it. If you're downloading it straight out of that page there where I could say download, I can only get 3TM data. And I'll explain 3TM, it's a coordinate system, in the next module. You can also change it to UTM as well, that's right here, so that you can click that and then you can get it in UTM values. So if I go back to search, I'm going to go to the street address again, and I can put in the same one here. Fine. So I'm going to zoom out again. Oh, and for the zooming, to zoom out, you right click. To zoom in, you left click. So if you're curious about how I'm doing that and you're trying to follow along, you're like, how do you get it to zoom out? You have to right click to zoom out, left click to zoom in. So I'm going to draw this again, just so that I can get any details that I might need. Click. And then maybe I want plans. So I'm going to click on plans and see what plans come up. So there's a subdivision plan, there's right-of-way plans, and there's condo plans. Now these ones cost money, okay? So if you want to view it really quick, you can just click on there and have a quick little view of it, but it won't let you zoom in and zoom out. So it's something to remember when you are trying to download this, and it won't really let you do too much other than make the window bigger. So if you're working on a Wi-Fi network as well, this is very inconvenient. So you go up and down, it's showing the condo that's right here, and we can go over, we can see all of that, we can see information. This was made in 1988, and it's showing lot 69, block 4. It was subdivided into a condo. So we can see where it mentions common property, we can see the units that are along here, and we can see where all the monuments were placed, the ones that were found, etc. Okay, so that's your plan. But if you actually want to download it, you have to add it to cart, and then you go to cart, and it will think. And then you're going to see that it is $2 to buy this plan. So again, you can download it and you can buy it and download it and be like, hey, I've got a survey plan of the property I'm going to purchase, right? So what's kind of neat about that is that you can go into your property and you can actually see where there's utility right-of-ways or there is maybe drainage right-of-ways. The things, where can I not actually do my own building if I want to. So the other thing is titles. So I can click on title. Titles are who owns the property. So you can see there's a whole bunch of titles because it's going to show every single lot. Okay, it's going to show every single person all the way through. So if we were to take this one, for example, because they were most recent, it was the most recent transaction on this page in 2018. So this is because I'm not paying for it, it's not going to give me too much information. So so here we have our legal description. It is a fee simple estate, which you will learn in cadastral, in your cadastral class. It's based on the condo plan, and it was in 2002. The value was $174,000. Okay, so if we go to one that is not a condo, I'm going to get away from the condos. Got lots here, so let's try this one. So you can see in this one, was purchased in 2005, and the transfer of land, the cost was $303,000. So these are like the quick view. If you actually wanted to see that person, so even if we go, let's see, a couple down here, let's see what's the most recent. There's 2019, so there's a 2019 one. So click that just to see. You would check the legal description because it's not going to give you the road description, but it says that it was $619,500 and it was a cash and mortgage purchase. So that's important because now we know that there's going to be some sort of mortgage on there, which means that the bank's information is going to be on the title. So second one down, so I add to cart. And I'm going to add to cart. And I go to shopping cart. And now you can see that the price of the title is $10. And you can choose email or fax, which I guess you would probably use email. So those are some of the ways that you can find details of a lot and information. You can download survey control markers. If your company doesn't have certain survey plans, you can download them from here. Generally speaking, your company will probably have some sort of account, so then you don't have to pay that out of your pocket. But that is Spin 2 and where you get your ASCM sheets. So if you're ever asked to, you can do that. So that is everything for Module 6. So Module 7 will be coming up. It is like the next kind of semi-heavy bit of information. And then we're getting into lighter and lighter materials for the last two modules.